In Tudor England, the fate of a traitor's body, especially the head, was often grim. Executions were as much a spectacle as they were a warning. After a beheading, it was common for the severed head of a traitor to be placed on a spike and displayed on London Bridge or at Temple Bar, meant to deter treason by showing the price of disloyalty. Heads were sometimes tarred to delay decay, and the sight and smell of them were said to be unforgettable. Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII, was executed on May 19, 1536, at the Tower of London, accused, almost certainly falsely, of adultery, incest, and high treason. Her execution was highly unusual in many ways, and these anomalies continued even after her death. Unlike many traitors, Anne was not executed before a huge crowd. Instead, her execution was carried out in private within the Tower grounds. This reflected her royal status, and perhaps also Henry's desire to avoid a public backlash. Henry even imported a skilled swordsman from Calais to carry out the execution by sword rather than the traditional axe. This was considered a more merciful, cleaner death. Some suggest it was also Henry's final twisted gift to the woman he once adored. Crucially, Anne Boleyn's head was not placed on a spike or displayed publicly. This again likely reflected her rank and the desire to quietly erase the embarrassing scandal. Public spiking was reserved for commoners and true enemies of the state, not former queens. Anne was buried in an arrow chest, an old elm box meant for storing arrows, because no proper coffin had been prepared. Her body and head were buried in an unmarked grave in the chapel of St. Peter at Vincula, within the Tower grounds. There was no formal funeral. In the 19th century, during renovations of the chapel under Queen Victoria, bones believed to be Anne's were unearthed, along with those of other Tudor-era women executed there. Based on circumstantial evidence and positioning, the remains were reinterred under a marble slab bearing her name. There is no evidence that Anne's head was preserved, tarred, or mummified in any way. Unlike the heads of traitors displayed publicly, there was no need to preserve it, since it was buried soon after the execution. Tudor embalming was rare and typically reserved for royalty receiving a state funeral. Anne, though a queen, was disgraced. She received none of the rights due to her former title. Her body was treated with efficiency, not ceremony. Anne Boleyn's head and her entire posthumous treatment tells a story of political convenience, royal image control, and quiet shame. She was once crowned queen in a lavish ceremony, but in death, she was hastily boxed up like contraband, as if to erase her entirely from the royal record.